Okay, we're going to go through a little bit of raw video here. I'm going to kind of explain my thought process on this story that I shot with Alex Cabrero. So, first few shots here, just some stagnant shots when we arrive on the scene, stuff that I think we may need to use to set the story up, some cold weather shots, some things like that. We know our story is about them dumping sand at Jordanelle Reservoir to make a beach for the summer. So we've already talked about our reveal, obviously, is going to be the sand coming in and getting dropped on the beach. So what I'm kind of looking for is shots here to build up the reveal. So I see the truck's moving, the truck's rolling in. I want to get a shot of it coming into frame and going out of frame. So I want to get the truck going in frame, out of frame. I'm trying to stay ahead of the action so that I can make edits. I let the tires quickly go out of frame. I swing around. I want to get the truck rolling into frame. I'm always looking for these edit points that I can make with the truck. So I don't know at this point, how many times the trucks are going to come in and dump sand. So this might be my only shot. So I want to get enough to make a sequence, letting the tires come into frame. Now I'm moving. I want to get a different angle because you don't want everything to be coming from the same angle. So, all right, I'm going to set up a wide shot. I know I'm going to need a wide shot of the truck dumping the sand at some point, so I might as well get it first. So I'm thinking at this point I'm going to break this into a 3-shot sequence depending on how quickly the sand falls out of the truck. Maybe just a 2-shot sequence. So I'm going to let some sand fall and then I'm going to quickly reframe another shot. There's some sand, comes out, okay, snap in, get another shot, make an edit point. So I can at least have a 2-shot sequence. I realize, okay, I'm going to be able to get a 3-shot sequence out of this. All right, that's enough sand there falling out. So now I've got at least a 3-shot sequence from this one angle. Ideally, if multiple trucks come in, I will be able to turn that into multiple sequences. But at this point, I'm just getting a couple of shots of the truck driving away with the sand in the foreground, just something pretty to illustrate what just happened. Now at this point, I'm just going to get some random static shots, cutaway stuff that I can use to just kind of like move the story along. I know I'm going to need some shots of just the sand. I know I'm going to need some shots of the sand and the snow. Tight shots. Tight shots are tough on a story like this because you don't really have anything but sand and the scenery, but I still want at least 10 good tight shots that I can edit in as good cut points. So another truck's rolling in. So I'm now going to shoot this same sequence again, just from a different spot. I let the truck roll in a little bit, trying to figure out what my next cut point will be. Tires rolling through, in and out of frame. Pick up, move. All the trucks getting in position. I'm getting in position. We'll flip the truck, roll into frame. Now I'm going to anticipate what's going to happen next. I'm going to frame up a shot, and ideally, sand will come pouring into my shot. As the lighting changes on me mid-shot, I have to kind of roll with that without shaking the camera. And so we're just anticipating what's happened. It wasn't perfect. I was hoping for more of a sand dump in the middle of the frame, but I didn't get it, so I quickly reframe, get another cut point to use. So I've now got, now I know wide shot. I had the wide shot of the beginning of the process earlier from the other angle. Now I've got the wide shot of the end of the process from another angle. So hopefully I can multiple angle sequence. Anticipate the truck rolling out of frame, get in position, let truck roll into frame and out of frame. Doing all this to set up sequences so that I know that I can make the illusion of this being a multiple camera shoot. That is essentially what the entire process is supposed to reflect, that we had multiple cameras in multiple positions. That's the vision you're kind of looking to make here. Nothing's really happening now, so I'm going to just get some more generic static shots while I wait. Anything that will kind of reflect, okay, they're dumping sand into a snowy area. I know that I'm going to need a lot of just basic cold shots, because the first part of our story is going to be just setting up how cold it is and how nobody's at Jordanelle Reservoir. So I know that I'm going to need just a bunch of those shots to set up the beginning part of the story, because me and Alex have already talked about we're going to set up, it's cold at Jordanelle, nobody's here, but everybody is thinking of summer. So that's kind of our setup that we've discussed. I know I'm going to need a bunch of these shots. Some wides, some tights, stuff in the foreground, focused on the background, any nice pretty scenic shots that I think will fit what Alex will write leading into the story. I'm always looking for a good opening shot and closing shot, a nice big wide representative shot. I know the opening shot isn't going to have sand in it because we haven't revealed that yet, but I look at that as a nice closing shot because you have the sand laid in the foreground and the scenic view in the background. So it kind of like is a good ending to the story. You see the sand, it's been laid, there's tire tracks in it, so it's kind of a nice set shot. And yeah, so I'm thinking at that point, okay, that's a good closing shot. I'm gonna keep that in the back of my mind. We've already discussed that they've brought the sand in, and now here it is on the ground, and end of story. More just kind of general, just cutaway type shots that I might need to get in and out of bad edit points. Tight shots. I'm always thinking about tight shots. I know I want the shot to reflect, any shots I can get that kind of, reflect the two different, the balances of the story, the fact that it's cold plus the sand. So anything I can get, sand in the foreground, ski runs in the background, it's a good shot. So now we've got a couple of sequences. Figure it's a good time for the interview. So Alex and I are going to interview, and this is pretty much going to have to be our character because we haven't really found anyone else. So even though she's an official, we've already discussed making her into a character. At this point, we still had a little hope of finding someone else, but she ended up being pretty good sound, and we thought we could make her into a decent character, telling the story through her eyes. So what you're going to see me do here is start with a tight shot. Now I've went to a medium shot of her. I'm going to essentially try and reframe this interview every other soundbite. Every time I hear a usable soundbite, which with her was pretty much everything she said, I'm now going to try and
it's amazing.
reframe
People call us and
every
they'll
bite.
treat us like travel agents, and they'll be like, well, what's this and what's that? And so we answer all those questions. So it's amazing.
Fast forwarding just a
lot
bit,
of it
I
is
picked the
getting
camera
ready.
off the tripod.
So, anyway.
I've set my steady bag up to the side,
At this part.
and I'm reframing on the steady bag because I want to essentially lower my tripod because I've started with it too high. So I put the shot on the steady bag, make sure my audio is good. Now I have left the camera and I'm off to the side working on the tripod.
Do a report on accessibility stuff. Maybe I'll have to put the glasses on if my eyes don't quit watering. But like I gotta do reports on that. I'm doing.
So I get far enough away that you can't hear me messing with the tripod in the background, and I am setting up another shot while we are getting this soundbite. Normally I wouldn't have my sandbag on the ground because it's a low angle, but I didn't really have anywhere else to put it. So now, snapping the camera back on the tripod, quickly reframing another shot, hands off the camera. I want to have to cover the least amount of video possible. Sometimes you just need to stop the interview and say, hey, I need to change it up for a second. Generally, I just try to be fast. Just get fast on the tripod, and you don't have to stop the interview as much. I kind of...
It's like a bittersweet though. It's like
I listen to what she's saying, and I'm trying to think of shots to get that if I need to cover a little bit of a moving shot, I can.
Enjoy it, but like this year it's so busy I couldn't even come out and enjoy it.
So I'm moving right there. She says something good.
I don't like the cold.
Alex recognizes it.
I don't like the cold.
So he asks the question again.
It's a necessity. I'd rather be warm. Yes.
My shotgun mic shadow is on her sleeve there. I will end up zooming that in a little bit in post just because I didn't notice it when I framed up this shot.
My family here, because I want to see how it is as a user. So I've got 2 boys, and you know we've been coming since they were babies, and so
let's talk a little bit about the backdrop. I wanted the backdrop to be as generic for the first part of this interview as much as I could because I didn't want to bust the reveal of the sand in the interview. I didn't want to show a soundbite with a big pile of sand behind her because I didn't want to give away that reveal in case we used that soundbite before we revealed it in the story. So I'm holding the reveal by not framing the sand up behind her. But in a few minutes, I will listen to kind of what Alex is asking her, and when she starts talking about the sand, I know then we're not going to use that bite in the setup portion of the story, so then I can get sand in her interview shot. So you'll see.
Oh yeah, and
you'll see that I'm framing up the interview differently at that point, getting sand in the foreground, things like that. Just like B-roll, I want to get tight shots of the interview, and I also want nice wide shots of the interview.
I like summer better. And then,
it's tough sometimes because the reporter is there, so you want to have to get creative, as you'll see.
But the amount of sand, I mean, this is only 2 mounds over here right now. Yeah. I was looking at your social media, and
Alex recognizes I'm moving. Yeah. He's kind of just stalling a little bit. Now he's asking about the sand, so I know I can show the sand. I use the sand in a way to kind of frame Alex out of the shot. It also allows me to get a nice wide shot of her.
And we're probably only about halfway. So, okay, so we're going from Cabana 1 all the way to just below the beach house. So it's probably about a quarter mile. And I think they're going about...
So now they're going to talk about the sand, which is the meat of the story. So now I know I can pretty much frame her any way I want. I don't want to get on the other side of Alex because I don't want to break my axis. So I want to stay on this side of her. I never want to cross her nose line. Essentially, you want to stay on this side of her face so that everything kind of matches if you have to put two sound bites together.
You know, and if we get interest, you know, maybe we'll do a sand volleyball tournament. But so just add to the activities.
From this spot, I know I can get a nicely compressed medium shot of her.
Yeah, no, it is. And actually, this is pretty.
The further
fun
you can get away,
to tube off of when you're
the more you can compress the background, and it looks really good. The lighting conditions were playing havoc, changing on us the whole time we were out there, so you have to just kind of be able to roll with that without shaking the camera too much.
I don't know. It's only December, so spring's not till. We'll still have snow here in April, so we still got 6 months. Yeah.
All right, so I keep them in the same spot because now I can get cutaway stuff that I can then mix in and out with the interview. Alex will continue to just ask questions and kind of keep her talking, and a lot of times he'll get more natural answers in this portion than he would in the actual interview. So I'm getting any little thing that I can think of that I might have to edit in and out of a bad edit point in case we butt two bites together, or in case, you know, any scenario comes up. Try to get tight shots surrounding her in the interview process in case I need to edit in and out of something like that. These aren't like ideal shots that you want to use in the package, but I think they're important to collect things like this, like shooting the patch on her sleeve and things, because a lot of times you just need something to get in and out of a bad edit.
Yeah, the Mayflower project in Wasatch County is going to be the largest development in Wasatch County's history. They're in the plans, but it's
Wipe my lens off. Doesn't really matter. I got this crud on the inside of my lens, and these JVCs that I can't really get rid of because it's on the inner lens. So I just have to crank my shutter up and kind of like
I mean, I won't be managing.
close the iris down.
I'm tired by then, but holy moly! So a lot of the stuff, you know, we're trying to plan for the future, but we're already at capacity. So I can't squeeze any more people in here, and I don't want to squeeze any more people in here because then it's not fun. You know.
That is a worry, I think, for all the parks, because how do you meet them?
Right. Yeah, it's just we're going to get to that.
In shots like these, I try to wait until she stops talking, but maybe she's having a reaction until something Alex says, because I don't really like to show people talking on camera if I can't hear what they're saying. So in points like this, I'm looking for just her reacting to a question from Alex or something that I can almost use as just B-roll of her, but B-roll in a spot where I can mix and match it with the same interview sound bites. So now we're getting more just general kind of like tight shot, cold B-roll, because I know I'm going to need a lot of that. I'm going to need at least 30 seconds of that for the build-up of the story.
Yeah. But no, it's crazy. My watering eyes look horrible. No. I'm like, oh my gosh.
So tight shots, foreground.
You know what I mean? Oh my gosh. Well, it's because of that little
Anything
bit of
to
wind.
kind of
It's
represent
like,
how cold it is outside.
This is definitely a happening place, and when we get those paddleboard storage buildings in, that might be another story you might want to do, because once those get
Speed
in,
this up a little bit.
They're going to be the first of the kind in the country.
I've
No one
left the
ever-
mic on her
Yeah. So we're going to make kind of
this entire time. We're just leaving the mic on. We are taking this from an interview to just, this is part of our process. This is what we do. So she's not really uncomfortable with the situation because she's not being interviewed. We're just talking to her. We've left the mic on her. We're not making the microphone a big part of the encounter. It's just, you know, we set it and forget it. We just put the microphone on her and then we're just having a conversation. And you'll see in a minute how that comes into value for us, because we can get a couple of quick little natural moments of her talking to the other park ranger guy whenever Alex kind of like goes off to do his own thing. So they're still talking, so I'm using this time. She's not really saying anything that I find super interesting. So I'll get other shots, but I'm still listening to her the whole time. I'm still, if she starts to say something pertinent to the story, I may whip around and frame her up really quickly. But we're bringing her guard down because we're no longer continually focused on her. We're looking at other stuff. We're talking about other things. But, you know, Alex might bring it back around to the subject at hand. And if he does, I'm listening and I can kind of whip around and frame her back up. Or if she says something really good and I'm not framed up on her, we can always just use the sound and just cover it. And I will try and get enough video of stuff that whatever she says, I can probably cover almost anything she says. That's kind of the goal here, is like listen to key things they say in the interview and find something in the scenery that is somewhat reflective of that, so that you can mix and match and cover where needed. That was a good opening shot. I should have used that as an opening shot. I think I used it, but I don't think I used it as the opening shot. Sand, tire tracks, snow, anything I can find, and all of these shots with the sand in it, I'm going to be using in the second 2/3 of the package. I know that. So now, stopped rolling for the while. She's still wearing the microphone, but now the truck is starting to roll in again. So I start rolling. I know we're going to want to mix and match once we get to the reveal in the story that they're dumping sand. We're going to want to mix and match sequences of them dumping sand along with her interview. So if I can get anything with her and them dumping sand together, that'll make that seem a little bit more natural. So at this point, I'm still kind of shooting sequences because I still only have 2 sequences of the trucks coming in and dumping. So I know that I need more angles of that so that I can get some better sequences. But I'm also still listening to her, and if I can get anything with her and the truck coming in and dumping together, then that'll help kind of blend the 2 scenes together.
I couldn't stop my eyes.
Quick sets, quick focuses, quick zooms. The faster that you can get setting your camera and getting your hands off of it, the better you're going to be at kind of like capturing tight sequences. So they're talking about the trucks. So I'm in a really bad position here, but I might be able to pick up something decent to just throw in quickly. Now they've kind of turned towards me a little bit and helped me out, but I'm still in a really kind of like bad spot. So this is good for maybe a nap pop. I'll listen for something usable that I could throw in the package, and then I'm going to move and I'm going to get a better angle. But I'm still kind of like thinking, okay, I'm going to possibly use these little moments between the 2 of them as nap pops. I'm literally hiding behind the sand so she can't see me. But Alex is in my shot. But because he's a pro, he sees that I'm pointing in his direction and he gets out of the way. Like as a pro. A lot of reporters won't do that, so you have to just move yourself. But he's a pro. So I'm going to sit on this shot because it's a nice shot, it's an interesting shot, and I'm going to wait until she says something that I can use.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm shooting with my ears more than my eyes. I've got my shot. I'm having to adjust to the light changing, but I'm just listening for something, some little nap pop that I know I can fit into the story because the shot's too interesting. It's too good not to like use. And even if it's just that little head nod there, something, and her saying, yeah, I know I want something to use as a little nap pop from her that I can fit into the story. Okay, she said something there that was worthwhile, so now I'm going to reframe. And now I'm going to get something wider. It's not. At this point, she kind of realizes that I'm shooting her. She quiets up a little bit, but I'm still going to kind of wait. At this point, I'm not staring down the barrel of the gun. I turn, walk away, start playing on my phone, do something to kind of like bring her guard down, to make her more natural.
But not June. It was too cold.
I start in like April, and then I wear.
Do you have a little suit?
I wear just like their boots, just like these, but they go higher. They're not like.
Oh,
Trucks start rolling, so I start anticipating his shots. So I'm trying to just again set up sequences with these trucks. This is kind of a, you don't get this a lot of time where you get this good repetitive action. So I thought this was a pretty good example on how to kind of like show what you do when you have any kind of repetitive action and how you try and turn it into like one sequence or two quick sequences for a story. So I'm kind of in a bad spot for that shot. I'm going to move.
Oh, you want me to stay there? Okay.
So I literally just was like, hey, you don't have to move. You can stay there. She's recording it with her phone. So now I've got her watching this process happen. So now I can literally bring her into the process. Her back's to me, so whatever she says, I can use there. But now I've got that shot. I know I need to get off it and actually do some sequencing here. Try and get a tight shot. Got it. Got some sand sliding down.
Just like that.
And she says, just like that. So that's a good little moment there where she says something that I could use. Figure I've shot everything off the tripod. I might as well get something handheld. I also want the clearest nats of the truck dumping sand that I can get safely. I don't want to really put my lav in a pile of sand that's getting 1,000 pounds of sand dumped on it. So I'm just going to get as close as I can with my shotgun and hopefully get that nice sliding sound of the sand coming down the truck. And so I'll just use that sliding sound of the sand coming down the truck over any other shot that I have of that same process happening. And then I'm just going to kind of wrap up the shoot with a few more just kind of general static generic shots that I might need to kind of wrap the story up. It's about 30 minutes of raw video total for a package that ended up running a minute 45-ish. And I had plenty of video to make the cover. So there you go. A little bit of the dance and a little bit of sequencing. Hope that helps.
It's not just for fun, it's also important. We're going to get into that coming up.